Now, court is dark for today as we wrap up the second week of this trial. Johnny Depp faced cross-examination yesterday from Amber Heard's attorneys after 2 days of direct examination. And Amber Heard's attorneys really peppered him with questions about events that he had described during direct examination inside that Fairfax County courthouse in Virginia. Depp again is suing Heard for a 2018 Washington Post op-ed she wrote, which he says paints him as a domestic abuser, though it did not explicitly name him. Depp's lawyers claim the false allegations have cost Depp acting roles, even resulting in him being dropped from his lead role as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Disney Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. He's seeking $50 million in damages in this lawsuit. Heard is countersuing for $100 million, and Depp's 3-day stint on the stand unearthed really an abundance of new information that we will be breaking down throughout the show this afternoon. Our Chanley Painter has been following this trial. It has been inside the courthouse in Fairfax County, Virginia, getting every bit of the latest developments. And Chanley, quite a day on cross-examination yesterday.
It really was, Joy. I mean, to be inside the courtroom, hours worth of contentious back and forth, sometimes with Depp and Amber Heard's attorney Rottenborn talking over each other, and then a lot of moments where Johnny Depp would have a comment or a wisecrack that would really have the gallery laughing along with him. But what was clear is that this defense on cross is really trying to impeach Johnny Depp's direct testimony on several different areas. First is drug and alcohol abuse, whether or not he ever hit Amber Heard, and then, of course, whether or not his version of those alleged allegations is truthful based on text messages, audio recordings, videos. It goes on and on to the point that Amber Heard's defense attorney told the judge late yesterday that he has a much more cross-examination coming up on Monday. But in the meantime, it's, for me, important to remember that Amber Heard's defense here is that Johnny Depp was the reason for his demise in his career because he was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And for most of these alleged incidents where he says he didn't abuse Heard, he was blacked out. He doesn't remember. So we put together some of those highlights from the cross-examination yesterday where the defense really homed in on whether or not Johnny Depp was blacked out or not. Let's watch.
You text your good friend Paul Bettany, and you tell him that you had drank all night before you picked up Amber to fly to LA. You tell him that you had had no food for days, and then you write, what do you get? An angry, aggro engine in a blackout. You agree that at least on parts of that plane flight, you were in a blackout.
No, I wouldn't agree that I was in a blackout.
You were very drunk on that flight, correct?
I do not agree that I was very drunk on that flight with the roxycodone, which is different than a blackout.
This is a picture of you on a black leather couch, passed out, correct?
Passed out's an interesting way of putting it. Maybe asleep.
So again, will this jury believe that Johnny Depp was telling the truth, he remembers these incidents and what he did, or that he was so intoxicated to the point that through these recordings, even an audio where he's howling on an airplane, that he was in a state of mind where he didn't realize or remember what he was doing in that moment. Another big point made on cross I want to mention, Joy, is that Heard's attorneys made clear that abuse, domestic abuse, can happen in many different forms. You notice one of the first questions yesterday was it can be verbal, it can be physical, in many different forms, and he agreed to that, and that's huge for Heard's defense.
Absolutely. And of course, Heard has been present throughout the trial, appears to be watching closely. What's her reaction been?
I did notice a shift between Amber Heard on Wednesday while Johnny Depp was under direct, able to speak as long as he wanted to, giving his version of the truth. And then on cross-examination, when her attorney really tried to take control of the narrative, forcing Johnny Depp to answer yes or no to many of the questions lodged at him. So we had a little side-by-side of Wednesday and Thursday of Amber Heard. Of course, her looks are different, but inside the courtroom, she was a little bit more upbeat. She was communicating with her attorneys more, passing notes more yesterday during cross-examination, and even mouthing to the point that I could read her lips, reminding her attorneys that I'm all right, I'm doing good, type of messages back and forth. She would turn in her seat. Every recess that happened yesterday, she was standing up and making sure Ben Rottenborn knew the complete story, knew what to ask next. That's what it appeared to me, at least, sitting in the courtroom. And then even after court, Joy, she stayed late, which was unusual. Every other day of the trial, she just almost runs out of the courtroom once the judge is off the record, but not yesterday. She stood there and visited with her attorneys to make sure they were all on the same page, which I think is real interesting. And of course, when your attorney's up there asking questions, you're going to feel a little bit better about your case, right?
Absolutely, Chanley. And you know what else it seems interesting is just that obviously, you know, it's a very serious matter that's being discussed here, domestic abuse, drug abuse. Yet you've reported on some very lighthearted moments in the courtroom.
It's been interesting to observe how Johnny Depp can still be Johnny Depp even when he's facing very tough questions and text messages and audio recordings. His commentary has been coming across with mixed reaction. Of course, Joy, the gallery loves him. The gallery is full of his fans and supporters. So when he laughs, they laugh. If he makes a joke, they laugh. And the jury seemed to loosen up a little bit yesterday as the hours droned on cross-examination, and he would have little quips to say. I noticed jurors who had given no reaction throughout this entire trial crack a smile or two. Now, some didn't seem amused at all, but let's take a listen to some of those key moments where the jury did react.
Elton actually sent a fellow called Charlie Dunnett, who worked with Elton for years and years. And
Mr. Depp, I appreciate that. My only question was just to confirm that you had sent that message to Elton John, nothing else. Thank you.
So I'll just stop talking.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to be respectful of the court's time and the jury's time.
Sorry?
I just said I want to be respectful of the court's time and the jury's time, and I trust that you do too. So,
well, I don't feel like I'm wasting anyone's time, sir.
Could you pull up Exhibit 408, please? One of your good friends that you've taken drugs with before is Marilyn Manson, right?
Yes, we've taken. We've drank together. We've had cocaine together maybe a couple of times.
Pills, right? With Marilyn Manson?
I once gave Marilyn Manson a pill so that he would stop talking so much.
and you would sometimes drink whiskey in the mornings too, right? During this time period. I mean, isn't happy hour any time? But you don't dispute that you carried cocaine in that box that said property of JD. That was a special box that you carried cocaine in, wasn't it?
The box was a gift from someone. I can't say that I carried cocaine in it, no.
You can't say that you carried cocaine in that box?
No, but it looks like it would fit some cocaine. Cocaine is, in my experience, normally given in plastic bags. When you put it in a box like that, chances are very good you'll leave a trail of a long line of cocaine behind you walking down the street. So,
in this text message, you say, "Yay, hello, Master D. I say, I do believe that Ryan, parentheses, Munson's, gave you a wee baggage for me. Where does it reside? X." Did I read that right?
You continue to read them right, yes.
At almost each of those moments, the jurors, a couple of them, would crack a smile. Joy, I have to mention one younger man who sits on the back row, takes constant notes and has been deadpan the entire trial until the joke about the box of cocaine when Johnny says, well, that looks like a box that could hold some cocaine. I mean, he almost really lost it up there in the jury box and then had to kind of recompose himself. It was interesting to see how they were reacting, and it maintained throughout the day, even late afternoon, with these quips from Johnny Depp, that he was still garnering smiles from the jury.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because often when we see, you know, a key figure in a case like this testify, it's done kind of either in the beginning, near the beginning, or towards the end. But in this case, it sounds like it's in the middle. So still a lot of witnesses ahead, right, Chanley?
That's right. So when Johnny Depp's testimony does conclude, we have, of course, the rest of cross and redirect examination. His case rolls on, and we expect to hear from key eyewitnesses to some of the alleged abuse he says Amber perpetrated on him, and really to corroborate his testimony on the stand will be the purpose. Here's a couple of names that we expect next. Ben King, he was actually the one who found Johnny Depp's severed finger in 2015 in Australia. We're also going to hear from Tara Roberts. She was the house manager from Depp's Bahamas home, and there were several instances. Of course, he went there to detox at one point, and then he also testified about an incident where Amber Heard allegedly threw a paint can at his head in the presence of staff members at his Bahamas home. So that could be the direction that testimony goes when it does, probably early next week, transpire. Joy.
All right, and of course, I know you're going to keep following the latest, bringing us all these important details, and I love that you always report on this courtroom color, the things that we can't see on camera. So thank you so much. Chanley Painter reporting live from Fairfax County, Virginia.